Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 23, Chapter 24, Shloka 23 and 24. By His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. So please repeat. Yattat Bhagavatanadi Gatanyopa Ayena.
No, you break the words and then say, cannot just say the whole line, Bhagavata Anadi Gata. Yeah, like that too. Better you go word for word, now easier.
Yeah. Okay. We'll directly go synonyms. Yeah. Yat, which, that, Bhagavata, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anadigata Anya Upayena, who is not pursued by other means, Yachana Chalena, Yachana Chalena, by a trick of begging, Apakrita, taken away, Swasharira Avesheshita, with only his own body remaining, Lokatraya, the three worlds, Varuna Pashe, the ropes of Varuna, Cha, and Sampratimukaha, Sampratimuktaha, completely bound, Iridaryam, Aryam, in the cave in a mountain, Cha, and Apaviddaha, being detained, Iti, thus, Ha, indeed, Uvacha, said. Translation by Divine Graces Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaja, the Lord adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the three worlds. Thus, only Bali
How
Maharaja's
much is there?
body was left, but the Lord was still
How
not
much
satisfied.
altogether?
He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him with the ropes of Varuna, and threw him in a
10,000.
cave in a mountain. Nevertheless, although all his
240,000.
property was
240,000. But
taken
only
and he was thrown
110.
into a cave,
That
Bali
day only
Maharaj
110.
was such a great devotee that he spoke as
But
follows.
they will object, no? How you can
Please
force me
repeat.
to give?
Yeah. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, the Lord adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the three worlds. Thus, only Bali Maharaja's body was left, but the Lord was still not satisfied. He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him with the ropes of Varuna, and threw him in a cave in a mountain. Nevertheless, although all his property was taken and he was thrown into a cave, Bali Maharaj was such a great devotee that he spoke as follows. 24. Translation. Alas, how pitiable it is for Indra, the king of heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Bruhaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Bruhaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Lord Vamanadev was standing at Indra's door, but King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking me for an alms to gain the three worlds for his self gratification. Sovereignty over the three worlds is very insignificant because whatever material opulence one may possess lasts only for an age of Manu, which is but a tiny fraction of endless time. Output by University of Gopal. Bali Maharaj was so powerful that he fought with Indra and took possession of the three worlds. Indra was certainly very advanced in knowledge, But instead of asking Vamanadev for engagement in his service, he used the Lord to beg for material possessions that would lie finished at the end of one age of Manu. An age of Manu, which is duration of Manu's life, is calculated last 72 yugas. One yuga consists of 4,300,000 years, and therefore the duration of Manu's life is 309,600,000 years. The demigods possesses their material opulence only until the end of the life of Manu. Time is insurmountable. The time is one is allotted, even if it is be millions of years, is quickly gone. The demigods own their material possessions only within the limits of time. Therefore, Bali Maharaj lamented that although Indra was very learned, he did not know how to use his intelligence properly. For instead of asking Vamanadev to allow him to engage in his service, Indra used him to beg Bali Maharaj for material wealth. Although Indra was learned and his prime minister Bruhaspati was also learned, neither of them begged to be able to render loving service to Lord Vamanadev. Therefore, Bali Maharaj lamented for Indra. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मेलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा माह्यं ददाति स्वदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं नाम सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादा सागन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगन्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Check the voice.
So Hare Krishna.
This mic on.
Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna, thank you very much for joining in to Srimad Bhagavatam. Today happen also to be the appearance day of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Very auspicious day. So we are going to have a celebration in the afternoon. There will be Pushpanjali and a discussion about Lord Nityananda's pastimes. So now we will continue with our regular Bhagavatam subject. So as we are discussing Bali Maharaj's quality, and he's comparing his position with Indra. When Indra was very much attached to his position and he wants to reclaim his position because he lost the kingdom, he lost the heavenly kingdom to Bali Maharaj. So he lost his kingdom to Bali Maharaj and he was loitering in the sky, not having any place to go. So his mother, Aditi, was very much concerned for the situation, and she started asking Kashyapa Muni, the husband, how to rectify this. And so he advised her to do this Payovrata yajna, and she did it for 12 days. Maybe you can try also. And then the Lord appeared, and knowing her desire, he can fulfill the desire by taking the incarnation of Vamana Dev. Right? In Kerala, they celebrate Vamana Dev as a very big event. Right? Vamana, Onam.
Yeah.
Right? So you see, his appearance was to reclaim the land. So that's why here today, one verse before, he devised a plan how to achieve that. So he went to back from Bali Maharaj 3 paces of land. He came as a dwarf, you know. So he went to Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj saw him, and he said, "Why are you asking only 3 paces of land? I can give you much, much." So then he said, "No, for Brahman we should not ask for more than enough." But the plan of his was seen through by his guru, who that? Shukracharya. He said, "Don't give this. He is Vishnu himself. He will ask for 3 paces and he will take everything away." And Bali Maharaj, if the Lord has come and he wants to take, why I should stop him? See, that's devotee. Devotees only think like that. Although he was son of actually he was representing the demons, but still you see how he thought in that way. So of course the 2 classes of people, the demonic and the devotees, that is described in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. That qualities of the demons and the qualities of the devotees. So demons, they are never satisfied. They never, right? These are the qualities of the demon.
Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demonic nature. O son of Buddha.
Actually, they are very untrustworthy. They are very, you cannot put faith in them. See, I think there's one part there, 16, 11, oh no, 13, 15, I think. He is my enemy, he is killed. My other enemy also will be killed. This way I will rejoice, I will be the Lord. Huh?
The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. And I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance.
See, this is their consciousness. Indra is also like that because he doesn't want anyone to usurp his position. Any competitor, he will send one, what's the name, Menaka, one Apsaras, and they will go and try to disturb the austerity of anyone trying to compete with him. So you see, this is the mentality. Whereas the devotee, like Bali Maharaj, wants to give, help, serve. So the Lord came personally and he was overjoyed, although he was ordered by his guru, don't give nothing. When he poured when you give, they pour the water in the hand, to make it official, And his guru was teaching him how to counteract that procedure. Sukraj said, one is giving, if you did not send this mantra, it's not considered. Just see how he was thinking. And why he was thinking like that? Because of self-interest. If he gives everything away, where I'll go? Huh? You understand? What will happen to me? So this me and my platform is actually a demonic consciousness, mode of action. Like animals, they always fighting and fight because of their. I think this verse is there 294, I think 293 or 4. The Prabhupada is explaining this me, my thing.
This one, green. I go for
Yeah.
the two misconceptions.
Read the words and then read. Yeah. Can you read?
As soon as the living entity becomes
I think the purport of 4 is more, relevant for this. Anyway, read this.
As soon as the living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life and mind, and thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self.
So if you give up this I and my platform, then you will be fully established in this spiritual platform. See, the Bhagavad Gita starts with this line, Mamaka Pandava Chaiva. So, Dhritarashtra, what is happening to my and the sons of Pandu? So he was on the my and the I platform. You understand this? This Bhagavad Gita starts with this. The bodily concept. You understand? Are you familiar? You're not familiar? I can show you the word. Dharma Chetre, Guru Chetre, Mamaka Pandava Chaiva. Kim Akurvarta Sanjaya. What is happening there in the battlefield? You see, me and my. So Bhagavad Gita starts on this platform of being materialistic, passionate, consciousness. So then, go back to the other one. So here, this first one says about the two misconceptions of life, namely I and my, are verily manifest in two classes of men. Right? Can you read that?
In the lower state, the misconception of mind is very prominent, and in the higher state, and in the high misconception of mind is very prominent, and in the higher state, the misconception of I is prominent.
So you see, the two things, you know, the I and the my are two different. Lower is what?
Mind.
Huh? I.
Mind.
Mind. Lower is mind. Huh? And then the higher is I. So what's the difference? What is the difference with I and mind? There's distinction, you know. It's not all the same. Can you read that?
Yes. In the animal state of life, the misconception of mind is perceivable, even in the category of cats and dogs, who fight with one another with the same misconception of mind. In the lower stage of human life, the same misconception is also prominent in the shape of it is my body, it is my house, it is my family, it is my caste, it is my nation, it is my country, and so on. And in the higher state of speculative knowledge, the same misconception of mind is transformed into I am or I am all, etc. There are many classes of men comprehending the same misconception of I am mind in different colors. But the real significance of I can be realized only when one is situated in the consciousness of I am the eternal servitor of the Lord.
See, that is transcending this I. See? Can you
This
read
is
on?
pure consciousness, and all the Vedic literatures teach us this conception of life. The misconception of I am the Lord or I am the Supreme is more dangerous than the misconception of mind.
See this point here? This is who, you know, the Maya words. Yeah? Aham Brahmasmi. I am what? God. You follow this point? Mine is like dogs and cats, you know, fighting. You know how the dogs, they mark territory? They have boundaries. Not only dogs, many, all animals practically. They have their borders and they fight. And so that is mine. But it's I is what? Like the Gyanis, you know, I am the same as I am God. So that is a different kind of a Maya, which is probably more dangerous. Why is it more dangerous? Huh? Because it makes you feel as a what? As God, competitor to God. Huh? You follow? See the contamination. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the Mayavadis are the greatest offenders. And this philosophy is all pervading. This philosophy is practically taken over the whole world. Everyone is in this. I am God. I am. That's why Lord Brahma is saying this consciousness is what? Vimukta Manina. What is that Vimukta Manina? They're thinking they are what? They are God. They are liberated. They are one with God. Such a consciousness is what? Avishuddha Buddhi. Contaminated consciousness. Read on this.
Although there are some directions in the Vedic literature to think oneself one with the Lord, that does not mean that one becomes identical with the Lord in every respect. Undoubtedly, there is oneness of the living entity with the Lord in many respects, but ultimately the living entity is subordinate to the Lord, and he is constitutionally meant for satisfying the senses of the Lord. The Lord therefore asks the conditioned souls to surrender unto him. Had the living entities not been subordinate to the supreme will, why would the living entity be asked to surrender? Had the living being been equal in all respects, then why was he put under the influence of Maya? We have already discussed many times that the material energy is controlled by the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter 10th verse confirms this controlling power of the Lord over the material nature. Can a living entity who claims to be as good as the Supreme Being control the material nature? The foolish I would reply that he will do so in the future.
Again, Namo Narayana. We are now Narayana. So when we leave the body, we will become Narayana. Okay? Understand? Next.
Even accepting that in the future, one will be as good a controller of material nature as the Supreme Being, then why is one now under the control of material nature? The Bhagavad Gita says that one can be freed from the control of the material nature by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord. But if there is no surrender, then the living entity will never be able to control the material nature. So one must also give up this misconception of I by practicing the way of devotional service and becoming firmly situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. A poor man without any employment or occupation may undergo so many troubles in life. But if by chance the same man gets a good service under the government, he at once becomes happy. There is no profit in denying the supremacy of the Lord, who is the controller of all energies. But one should be constitutionally situated in one's own glory, namely to be situated in the pure consciousness of being the eternal servitor. In his conditional life, the living entity is servant of the illusory Maya, and in his liberated state, he is pure, unqualified servant of the Lord. To become untinged by the modes of material nature is the qualification for entering into the service of the Lord. As long as one is a servant of mental functions, one cannot be completely free from the disease of I and mind. The supreme truth is uncontaminated by the illusory energy because he is the controller of that energy. The relative truths are apt to be engrossed in the illusory energy. The best purpose is served, however, when one is directly facing the supreme truth, as when one faces the sun. The sun overhead in the sky is full of light, but when the sun is not in the visible sky, all is in darkness. Similarly, when one is face to face with the Supreme Lord, he is free from all illusions, and one who is not so is in the darkness of illusory Maya. The Bhagavad Gita 14 chapter 26 verse confirms this as follows. Mam cho abhyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samadhi chetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So the science of Bhakti Yoga, of worshipping the Lord, glorifying the Lord, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the right sources, not from the professional man, but from a person who is Bhagavatam in life. And being always in the association of pure devotees should be adapted in the earnestness. One should not be misled by misconceptions of mind. The karmis are fond of the conception of mind, jnanis are fond of the conception of mind, and both of them are unqualified to be free from the bondage of the illusory energy. Srimad Bhagavatam and primarily the Bhagavad Gita are both meant for delivering a person from the misconception of I and mind. And Srila Vyasadeva transcribed them for the deliverance of the fallen souls. The living entity has to be situated in the transcendental position where there is no longer any influence of time of the material energy. In conditioned life, the living entity is subjected to the influence of time, the dream of past, present, and future. The mental speculator tries to conquer the influence of time by speculating about becoming Vasudeva or the Supreme Lord in the future by means of culturing knowledge and conquering over ego. But the process is not perfect. The perfect process is to accept Lord Vasudeva as Supreme in everything, and the best perfection in culturing knowledge is to surrender unto Him because He is the source of everything. Only in that conception.
How long is it?
Very
Okay, finish it.
Only in that conception can one get rid of the misconception of I and mind. So the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam confirm it. Srila Vyasadeva has specifically contributed to the illusion living entities, the science of God, and the process of Bhakti Yoga in his great literature Srimad Bhagavatam. And the conditioned soul should fully take advantage of this great science.
So now, is it the next verse? Is it?
Yes. O King,
Okay, no, just go to the purport. Go down. Okay, all right. So, okay, we have the purport. Prabhupada is explaining the two different between the my and the I. Okay? So the my is a lower consciousness, and the I, one thinks that he is as good as God. So to explain this, Krishna himself immediately chastised Arjuna. You are thinking like a fool. You see, he was also thinking the consciousness of my relatives, my grandfather, my guru. You know, he was, what is that? Agata, what is that verse? Bhagavad Gita. Huh? This one.
Gatasu Naga.
Yeah. See, Krishna immediately call him indirectly a fool, you know. Can you, you are Pandita and you're crying. What kind of Pandit are you? See? Translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking lesser words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead.
See? So see, this is transcendental consciousness, you know. Whereas this consciousness of I am equal to the God is completely faulty. That is explained in another place. Actually, it's from the Bhagavatam also, but in the CC, the translation by Prabhupada, it's a little bit more clear. 19:143. You see, in this verse, you see, CC, yeah, 19, yeah. So this one, this verse, actually you go down, is a little bit down, down. Yeah, 10:87:30. This is where this verse is. I'm going to the translation of Prabhupada on this because the other translation is a little bit done by another person. So, can you go back to this? Right? Can you read?
O Lord, although the living entities who have accepted material bodies are spiritual and unlimited in number, if they were all pervading, there would be no question of their being under your control.
So if the living entity is all pervading, like this now, I, that similar to God, that means he is, you know, as good, expanding himself like God everywhere. Huh? You understand?
No more under your control.
Then they will not be under the control of the Lord. Huh? Is it a fact? As Prabhupada gave the example, the yogi was meditating and he was crying, you know, toothache, and his doctor, he was crying. You know, Prabhupada giving the example. So if you have a toothache and you have to need a doctor, then what kind of God are you? You follow? So
if they are accepted, however, as particles of the eternally existing spiritual entity as part of you, who are the supreme spirit whole, we must conclude that they are always under your control.
is that point here? Are you understanding? Not understanding? Everyone looks a little confused. Hello? Huh? See, as part of you, who are the Supreme Spirit whole, we must conclude that they are always under your control. And that is explained by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Who can tell me? Where is it? Anyone can tell me? Where in the Bhagavad Gita? Come on. Who said? No? 15:7. We come back to this. Huh? So here Krishna himself said, Mamai Angsa. Angsa means what? Expansion. Oh, he's too advanced. Amsa means what? Part and parcel. Part and? See? Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The soul is eternal. That's why it is called Sanatana. You know? Manaha Sastrendhyani Pakiti Stana Kashtati. So if you are as good as God, then there's no question of suffering. Correct?
Yes.
Yes or no? Because you are part and parcel. Are you following? This is also confirmed in the Bhagavatam. Who knows? Yeah, others won't know this thing anyway. You go to 11:11:4. Okay? Again, Mama, Angs, Mama, Amsaya. Is that again? Same word, huh? Again here, more clear. Jiva Sheva okay. That is the position of the Jiva. Do you understand? Can you
O most intelligent Uddhava, the living entity called Jiva is part and parcel of me. But due to ignorance, he has been suffering in material bondage since time immemorial. By knowledge, however, he can be liberated.
See this point here? Same thing. You look a little but startled. Are you understanding? Not. So you understand here. Krishna is saying the living entity is part and parcel of, correct? And in the previous verse, because of the mind and the senses, he is suffering, correct?
Yes.
Yes? So if you are actually God, then why you shouldn't be suffering? Are you following? There's no question of suffering for God. God is what? Sat Chit Ananda. Are you following? So now Krishna is saying, this is spoken by Krishna himself. Then he's saying he's been suffering since time, but there's a solution. The solution means he must get transcendental knowledge. You understand this point? This is further explained in another verse. Madhya 6154. This is from Vishnu Purana. See? Vishnu Sakti Para Prokta Chetra Gyakya Tata Para. Avidya, you see this word? Avidya. That's now Krishna said by knowledge you can be freed. But here, avidya karma samgyaya tritye shakti ishyate. What does this word mean? You go.
The internal potency of the Supreme Lord Vishnu is spiritual and verified by the Shastra. There is another spiritual potency known as Kshetrajna or the living entity. The third potency, which is known as essence, make the living entity godless and fills him with spirituality.
To this point now, without knowledge, he makes him what?
Godless.
Godless. And make him work like an ass. So that means this avidya, he's putting him in what? In ignorance. He works like an ass and he becomes God. Or he thinks he becomes God. That is also another kind of godlessness. Is it not? You understand? So this is all avidya. This is all what? So in other words, unless you get knowledge, you cannot understand these things as they are. It's not. Yesterday I quoted, was it yesterday? One of the classes. I was quoting this word, the Prabhupada, 2931. Now we were in 293, right? 2931. You see here. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Paramam Guhyam Me. This knowledge about me is very what? Topmost. Yeah? Paramam. Paramam means what? Topmost. Yet Vijnanam, this knowledge, it cannot just be knowledge. It has to be what? Realized. You have to realize this knowledge. That means you just hear, that's good, yeah, but you have to come to the point of realization. Understand? And realization, it will just not manifest like that. It says here, Yad Vijnanam Samamvitam Saharasyam. What is that? Tat angam me, tang angam cha, grahanam gaditam maya. You read the translation. You see, this is very important. See?
The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me, as described in the scriptures, is very conventional and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service.
So it has to be realized. This realization comes with devotional service. In other words, if you don't surrender to Krishna, you cannot come out of this mind and I flesh. It's absolutely. But how you can say Indra is not surrendered? We'll come to that again, but first we'll go to this. Right? The necessary paraphernalia for that process has been explained by me. You may take it up carefully. You know what the Lord is going to say? You know, there are 4 important verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Aham eva sameva. You see, so the point is, this is the same point that Krishna also said in the Bhagavad Gita in 4:35. 35, you said, you know, you have to realize that I am the benefactor of everything. See? So in other words, we go back to 19:1. We go back there. You see, we are not finished there. So you see how everything is what linking up. You know, it's not that everything is just obscure. See?
If the living entities are simply satisfied with being identical with you as spiritual particles, then they will be happy being controllers of so many things.
See, if this knowledge, that living entity is simply satisfied with being identical with you as spiritual particles. What is that verse? 2108, is it? 2108? Jivere Swarupo Hoy Krishnere Nityadas. So the Jiva's position is eternally the servant of the Supreme Personality. So in other words, if you challenge that position, then you will fall into Maya. You will fall into Maya. And there's no way you can come out of this entanglement until and unless you take shelter of the. I think the next line, Jivare Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas. What is the next line below? Huh? The next line, what is that? Huh? Wait, can you take it out? You just click on the number, you'll come on. Oh, really?
No, you should always, so this was 107. Yeah.
Okay.
It's small problem.
जीवेर स्वरूप है कृष्णेर नित्यदास कृष्णेर तटस्थ शक्ति भेदा भेदम प्रकाशन.
Krishnere Tatakta Shakti Veda Abeda Prakasha. Can you go to the translation?
It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna, because he is marginal energy of Krishna and manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. Krishna has 3 varieties of energies.
So this what we have explained already. 3, what? Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti and Tathagata Shakti. So when the living entity does not understand this, he will be in the mind and I platform. And it's just not that you be in I and my place, all right, you know, he's put into a lot of trouble. Manaha Sastra Indriyani Pakirti Sthana Kashtati. Not only that, he becomes godless and is working like an ass. See, this is the condition of this my and I. That's why Indra, he is conditioned in that consciousness. I want my kingdom. You know, I want to be God. Actually, he challenged Krishna. You know, when Krishna lived to the Govardhan hill, he said, who is this little boy? Trying to what? Check my powers. You see, even Brahma also fell into that. Because Brahma realized, you know, he started praying, I made a big mistake and I don't want to do this again. See, so therefore, when anyone who is in this kind of consciousness, then he cannot surrender. Period. He cannot what? Not possible. And he is stuck with all that crazy philosophy. What is that crazy philosophy? 9:15. Huh? What is that? What is this? Others. Krishna said this. Anye. All this anye. What is that?
Jnana yajnena chamamanya. Isn't so us
Ekatvena. This ekatvena means what?
one with the Lord.
This Mayavad. Ekatvena is what? I. I am equal to God. I am what? You understand? This conditioning is very, very contaminating. That's why they speak all nonsense. You can eat anything, you can do anything you like. Correct? And prataktvena means what?
Multi-demigod worship.
Those who worship all the, and they say that not only worship, they say all gods are the same. This is the prataktvena. 99% of the people are in that kind of a consciousness. You see, all these things are not, they are not in anywhere near God's realization. You understand? That's why they are like animals. Those who worship demigods, the animals. Do you know? Where is that verse for that? 6:16. Where? Huh?
24.
Take it out. You see, is it those who worship this kind of, they are worse than animals. Hello? Do you know? No? Do you know this verse? Huh? Where? No. The 24 is about the iron. Come on, you just put animal, you'll get that with 16. 16, 6, 16, 42 or 438, 38, I think. Yeah, can you read this?
O Lord, O Supreme, unintelligent persons who thirst for sense enjoyment and who worship various demigods are no better than animals
No better than animals in the,
human form.
I mean, although I've seen cases, they are devotees, but at home they have a Shiva, they have a what? Durga. Is it not? Hello? It's not that I'm condemning, because you are in that, what? I and my platform. You follow? You can see they are no better than animals in the human form of life because they are animalistic propensity. Because of their animalistic propensity, they fail to worship your Lordship, and instead they worship the insignificant demigod who are but small sparks of your glory. With the destruction of the entire universe, including the demigod, the benediction received from the demigod also vanish, just like nobility when a king is no longer in power. I think I quoted this verse in Russia when we heard that what's the name? The Bangladesh Prime Minister, she was no more in power. I remember you were in the room where I quoted this verse. So you see how worship them, you see, entirely this verse, you see, insignificant in line with today's verse, is it not? This benediction coming from this, what do you call it, demigod, it's finished. One Manu's life, it is, of course, you cannot stand, maybe unless you go to the heavenly planet. Usually you stay there for about 10,000 years, but you know, unless you are the principal demigod or something, you stay for Manu's life. But the point we are trying to make, you see how it all links up? So how this consciousness of me and my and the worship, that's now Bhagavad Gita, Prataktvena, it is completely in the animalistic. Just go back to the line, you see. No better than animals in the human form because of their animalistic propensity. So this I and my is inside the animalistic propensity. That's why you are attracted to worship of Demigods. Right? That's verse in the Bhagavad Gita. What is that? 7:20. 7:20, is it?
Yes.
Alpa, what?
Alpha
Not Alpamed, the other one.
23.
No, that is 23, the other one.
That one with that.
But the beginning line, what is that? Hirta Gyan. That means they have lost their intelligence. So if you are animal, you have lost your intelligence. Animals got no brains. Animals got what? And it's comparable to one who is worshipping the demigods. You understand? That's why demigod worship is never recommended. It is never. So Krishna said it is avidhi purvakam. Why? Because by worshipping, I already explained that, worshipping demigod cannot bring about any good qualities in you. Cannot bring about any? No. So if you got no good quality, then you remain in what level? You remain as an animal. Right? Only that you are what? Dvipada. That's the word also. No? Dvipada. Two-legged animal. So you see how the whole thing about consciousness with Indra and the consciousness of Bali Maharaj. That's why Bali Maharaj is speaking. Worse than animal. Although he wants to be heavenly king, that means, in other words, anyone who wants to become like me and my, he is contaminated with animalistic consciousness. It appears that Indra is apparently contaminated. You understand? And later on, this Bali Maharaj will be giving an analogy of Prahlad Maharaj. He said how Prahlad Maharaj, even the Lord offered him, he refused to take. He said, I don't want to be tempted by all these things. I saw how my father, within a few seconds, everything was finished. He was so powerful, in a few seconds, everything was finished. Why you were tempting me with all this unnecessary, I don't want that. Then what do you want? So I want to become not only your servant, but the servant of your servant of your servant. That this kind of consciousness cannot come into the heart unless they surrender to a servant of the Lord. You understand? This is not a cheap program to become. That's why Krishna said to become a devotee, it is take what? Bahunam Janmanam Ante. It is not a cheap program to become a devotee of Krishna. Understand? Unless you have been through many lifetimes in this animal consciousness, and finally you have surrendered to the Lord. That's also explained in 554. 554. 554. See, therefore, unless you are a devotee of Krishna, you are not considered a human being. You are not considered what? You have no position. You are as good as an animal. You follow? So when you are a devotee, then you think, oh, for the Lord, I'm so fortunate the Lord has, I can never be independent. In fact, the devotees are praying never to become independent. Do you know this is a so-called for that? Yeah. Take it up. See, devotees, they don't want to become independent. They always want to become dependent. You understand? So this independent consciousness means he's an animal. He's the what? Animal. That's why I say Pakrit. What is that verse? Bhagavad Gita 3:27. Pakriti gunai karmani sarva ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. You see how the two different examples are here. How you are contaminated and how you are liberated. Okay? Liberation means, I'm going, this is not even coming. I'm already on the third verse, and he's still opening the. Read. See the word here. Prahasyatmi sanata jivitam. Those Malayalam. Yeah. See, this Malayalam word here actually. Jivitam. Sanata. He don't want to be what? Anata. Anata means what? Independent. Sanata means what? Totally dependent. You follow? I want to live depending on you. See, can you read this translation?
By serving you constantly, one is freed from all material desires and is completely pacified. When shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a fitting master?
I shall engage you as your permanent servant, eternal permanent servant. Already the permanent is enough, but then you put the word eternal, right? And always feel joyful to have. This is another point. When you come to this original position, you become joyful. That's explained in the Bhagavad Gita also, what is that? 9.2. What is that? Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitra Midam Uttamam Pratyachagavam Dharmyam Susukam Kartam expanding, Avyavya means this happiness is expanding, ever in blissful position. So that's not, I was explaining that point. What is that point that I was saying? Just this. I was going ahead. I was going a little faster. I just forgot that point that I was made. What was that point I made?
I don't want anything to do.
Also mentioned that saying that he's not he has to all of that. He wants to become a servant of God. He mentioned that
After that only this servant becoming servant very happy.
I forgot the link now. I was going a bit too fast. I was going 3 verses already. So anyway, the point is this, that you from here you can see that this original position. Oh yes, I was making this point, that when you come to the liberated platform, then you can understand the Lord. You know that verse 2:10 what? 6. You see, liberation means, again, liberation means what? Coming to your original position. What is that original position? What is that? See? Sanskrit. Mukti hitva. Anyata. Mukti hitva means giving up. Mukti means giving up this anyata rupam. Swarupena, giving up this other consciousness. Other consciousness is what? This animal consciousness. And coming to your Swarupa. What is your Swarupa? Krishnere Nitya Das. You see that? Understand? So you see how important it is to come back as a human being, understanding your eternal position. That's why we say, even you what? Hello? You merge into Brahman, or you what? You merge into Brahman, or you merge into what? Or you understand Paramatma. These are partial. Unless and until you establish yourself as an eternal servant of Krishna, you cannot be free from this contaminated consciousness. Avishuddha buddhi. Understand this? Hello? That's why a devotee's position is transcendental. He transcends the 3 modes of material. If you are in the modes, even in goodness, you are still contaminated. You're still contaminated. Because This consciousness can only be established until and unless you realize your eternal position as servant of Krishna, period. You cannot compromise with that and have a little bit of demigod and a little bit of, all the other nonsense. It doesn't work. You understand? And Krishna is also not happy with that. He doesn't call them as devotee. He calls them what? Others. They are not, what is that? He is not what? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante vasudevim sarvamiti sa mahatma. So a devotee is classified as Mahatma or Sadhureva. He is what? Devotee. You follow? Anybody is in that me and my platform, he cannot be a devotee of the Lord at all. He has contaminated consciousness, and in that contaminated consciousness, you are bound to have unlimited suffering. You understand? If you want to cross that suffering, then you must establish yourself permanently, eternally as a servant of Krishna. Period. Are you following? That's why Bali Maharaj consciousness and Indra's consciousness are two different parallels. They don't flow together. Although it seems like he is also a devotee. Where the parents? So are you clear about this whole subject today? Hello? Are you clear about today's subject? Yes, no, what? So you understand what is contaminated consciousness and what is what? Proper consciousness. So if you don't understand this, and if you practice your devotional service, then you are practicing devotional service in a contaminated consciousness.
I have my first one.
Contaminated consciousness means your devotional service is mixed with passion or mixed with ignorance. These are all considered as contaminated consciousness. You cannot grow. In order to come out of that, you need to associate with the first class devotee. That's why Prabhupada, he gives a class all the time, practically most of the time. You're not Indian, you're not Japanese, you're not American. You are the eternally a servant of. And that brings one higher into the spiritual level. Are you following? I mean, I'm running out of time. Time is gone, 10 o'clock. So, of course, I can go on and on some more. But I think I made my point clear. Correct? Any questions up to here? Yeah?
Wait. So,
So, is it
louder.
Hare Krishna? Can you?
This is not amplification.
Uh.
This is for a live stream.
Okay.
So you got to speak like.
Prabhu, how do we? Is it possible to make out ever conditioned souls? Like if they exist amongst us, is it possible to find out we are Nitya Muktas and ever conditioned? Those are totally materially attached. So how do we find them? And is there any benefit of preaching to them?
So, how to find Nitya Muktas, Nitya Baddhas, and how to benefit them, Nitya Baddhas.
The process is already given. You bring them to the spiritual level by making chant Hare Krishna or take Krishna Prasad and something.
But Nitya Baddhas can still change because they are Nitya Baddhas, right? So
yeah, they will change.
Okay.
All of us were Nitya Baddhas, or you were Nitya Siddha. You understand? So by the process, the first thing that transforms us is that we met a pure devotee. Only by the association of pure devotees, you can think like this, that you're not. Just like Arjuna. Of course, Arjuna was put into that situation. He immediately started, the whole Bhagavad Gita is on this point. Understand how Krishna elevated him until he understand 1873, 72, 73. Nasta Mohan. 73. Nasta Moham Smrit. You see what he says? My illusion is now Gone. My doubts are now clear. See, two things, illusion goes and doubt also must go. You understand? For the doubting soul, there's no possibility. That's why Krishna again asked him, are your doubts all clear now, Arjuna? You see? So that way he could then perform his duty in serving Krishna. Otherwise, it's not possible. You understand? That's why implicit faith in Guru and Krishna. Why? Yasha Deve Parab. If you don't have that, forget it. You cannot make progress. Devotional service is not one leg here, one leg there. You are not going anywhere. In fact, you will fall down. You understand this point? Spiritual life means ekaha kuruna. Mamekam saranam vrja. You see, solid. I may sound very fanatical, but that's the gist of the whole thing. Bhagavad Gita means this. That's what Krishna came for. Understand? And if you think that is all this, Prabhu, you are talking too much, very fanatical way, then you missed the boat. You missed the what? You missed the boat. You understand? And this is what it is. This is it. Not what is it. It is it. Understand? Two different words. So if you think that you are going to do a compromise kind of a nonsense, then forget it. You're not practicing devotional service at all. You have some other wild ideas. And it will not work for the what? Opinionating soul. He cannot make any progress. You understand? And this is explained in that verse, what Prahlad Maharaj again is saying. I quoted that verse, 7:29. 29, yeah. 7:29. I quoted that verse. You see how Prahlad is saying?
Of the different processes recommended for disentanglement from material life, the one personally explained and accepted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be considered all perfect. The process is the performance of duties by which love for the Supreme Lord develops.
The process which is personally what?
Recommended.
Explained by the Lord. And Prahlad said, I accept that method. I don't want all this, what? Speculated process. I don't accept that. Prahlad is also very fanatical here. I deny, I discard. You understand? So therefore, Krishna says, did you hear this very carefully, Arjuna? Have your doubts all gone? That's the verse. You can go back there. What verse is that? Have you heard this attentively, Arjuna? Your doubts all are now gone. He's asking this question. Why? Because this is very important. Otherwise, you will be what? Covered again in my and I and my grandfather, grandmother, all this nonsense. You follow? No, where are you going? Come on, you got to go back, 73 back.
Yeah.
And also, you see how Krishna tested him also. Now I have explained, you do what you like. Ita chasi, tata. And then he say again after that, are you following me? Now you see. And your ignorance and illusion now dispelled. Have you heard this with an attentive mind? Krishna consciousness means this point, have you heard? And you see that he says, you do what you like, and then he added the next line. But if you don't listen to me, you're going to be gone. That means what? There is no independence, there's no what? Choice. There's no what? No choice. Hello. Don't think that you have Hindus and others got choice. This other program, the animal program got choice. But Krishna conscious program got no choice. Either you surrender or you don't surrender. Finish. You clear about that? Any other questions?
So now, in the case of Bali Maharaj and Indra, of course, Bali Maharaj himself saying that he was favored more than the Indra.
Is more what?
Bali Maharaj was favored more than the Indra. Bali Maharaj was saying. But when we see entire 6th canto, seemingly looks like even Well, even in this case also, he arrested the devotee only, and Vritasura also he made him killed in the sixth canto. Parikshit Maharaj was saying that why Lord is doing this much favor to Indra. If he's that kind of person, like now we started the class with eye and mind platform, that much also Indra not realized. But Lord is helping him so much by putting even his devotees into trouble, killing the devotees or arresting the devotees. Why like this?
Let's explain in 7.1, what is that? Why the Lord is always favoring the devotees. That the whole chapter is there, is 7.1. You know, because the demons are, same point, they are associating with the modes. Huh?
His point,
Ah. So
his point is that demons, Bali and Vritrasura are devotees. The Lord got Vritrasura killed and Bali arrested. But Indra was always
pampered.
Yeah, he's pampered all the time.
I don't think he was pampered, you know. I think the point is that he is holding the pose. So that pose is an important pose, being king of heaven. So because Indra is holding the pose, therefore Krishna is kind of backing him up. You know, but again, Krishna also in numerous times have also chastised him. Then he was, you know, with Prithu Maharaj, right? You saw how Krishna dealt with him. See, similarly, he also dealt with them in the when the what Govardhan Leela. See? So it's not that he's fully favoring, he's only fully favoring the pure devotees of himself. Other persons is not really fully, you know. In fact, he have said, Indra, you know, you're not very intelligent. Anyone who comes to me for material benefit, I quoted that verse, you know. What is that? 6:9 or 43 or something, 52 or something. I quoted that in the last class, explained the differences. So you see how the Lord is only with his pure devotees. You understand? And that is explained in that verse, you know that verse. You acted as their messenger, you acted as you go to Adi 8, 19, 18. Adi 8, 19 or 18 or 19, I think. So you see how actually it's Bhagavatam verse, you know.
5:10:8.
Narada is speaking to Yudhishthira, you know, how. Yeah, can you read this? This one or next one? This one is it? 5:10. Yeah. No, you.
Muktim dadati karhichat. Yeah.
That is there in CCO.
Adi said in the Adi. Can you? Yeah.
My dear king, the supreme person, Mukunda, is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he worked just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him.
Direct service to him, he rarely gives. Well, there's also another verse by Narada, you know, you Pandavas, you know, but we ordinary devotees, you know, 7:1.
To Yudhishthira Maharaj.
He was speaking to Yudhishthira, you know, 7:1 something.
But he is always partial to his devotees. But in this case of Bali Maharaj and Vritrasura, he seemed externally partial to Indra and got Vritrasura killed and Bali Maharaj arrested. How is he maintaining his word that
No, but those devotees who
Bhakta.
got killed, like Vritrasura, he went back to God.
When he said,
the
"Name
other
Bhakta,"
part is that I mean, why you won't stay here? Like he left. God liberated him. You
Name
know,
Bhakta Pranashati, Name Bhakta Pranashati,
Name Bhakta,
How
but
is
in
it
this case, he delivered him and brought him back to the spiritual world. You know, that is highest benefit, to go back to the world and serve the Lord. Whereas, what his name, Indra, has to still stay here and, you know, go through all these crazy things.
Yeah, this
Huh?
6:11:23, the same thing is saying that
Yeah.
you better kill me.
Wait.
This 6:11:23, this Vritasura telling, you better kill me because I will go
Yeah,
back.
he
Prabhupada
was-
writing in the
He was
purport.
very, in fact, he thought he killed Indra and he went on a trance. And then only Indra could cut his head. No, it took him 1 year.
Prabhupada writing exactly same point.
Yeah, the point is that ultimately the devotee wants to be united with the Lord, and that is the highest. Anything separating is misery, right? That's why, you know, what the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting in the Sastika prayer. What is that?
Nadhanam Nadhanam
No, a
Sundari.
moment,
Yes.
yeah, millions of years.
Jugaitam
verse?
Nimisena.
Yugayitam nimisena chaksusa prabhasayitam sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda. Everything is vacant because absence. So devotee, they don't want to be separated from the Lord. That is their highest what? Benediction. They want to be united with the Lord at all costs. That's why here Bali Maharaj also. I mean, what kind of a fool is Indra? You know, he just wants to enjoy this kingdom. I want to be with the Lord. You see, there's a difference. See, devotees can only understand that. See, the verse, you know, 11, 20, 34.
Yeah.
They don't want anything else. You know, they just want to be with the. That's why Krishna said, my devotee comes to me for material benefit. I don't want to give him that way. He will perpetually petition me. In fact, I will bring him to my
Lotus
5, 1927. I mean, let's finish this. Can you read this?
Because my devotees possess saintly behavior and deep intelligence, they completely dedicate myself to me and do not desire anything besides me. Indeed, even if I offer them liberation from birth and death, they do not accept it.
That they don't want nothing. They only want. That's why they reject the 4 kinds of liberation, right? You know, 3, 29, 13. They don't want anything that doesn't bring us with the Lord. We are not interested. You know? What is the other words I was just saying? No, before that I was talking.
5:19:27.
5:19:27. You see, and also the same thing. What 22:42.
Yeah.
Durva Maharaj. See, so all these are incidents of a person who have the Lord in their possession. So they are not interested, being tempted by all these other what? Rasavarjam, Rasopiyasya. Param, this he already got the Lord. He doesn't want this cheap little, what is it, glass? What do you call it? Kacham. Glass, broken glasses. I got a valuable jewel, Divya Ratnam. Why I want these broken glasses? And in fact, Durva Maharaj was upset with himself. Why did I come here to ask him these things, you know? I completely am a fool. You understand the point? He was it not? He lamented. You go back to that 4 something. These pleasures are even available in the hellish world. See how devotees, you know, therefore the devotees cannot be tempted. They cannot, like Haridas Thakur, the prostitute came, spent whole 3 days. He was not disturbed at all. But who? Vishwamitra fell just by hearing the ankle bells. He fell by hearing the ankle bells. Prabhu, there's 2 different consciousness. Vishwamitra was trying to become a big yogi. Finish. You understand? So try to understand the position of the devotee. And a devotee means he has captured the lotus feet of the Lord. That completely differentiates him from anything else. He is therefore not interested in anything else. Nadanam, najanam, nasu. Doesn't want. Even if the Lord sends him to hell also, no problem. As long as I can be remembering your lotus feet, I'm fine. You can think like that. Unless you have got Krishna, it is not possible. All right, you follow. So now that's why again that's verse, 19168. 19168. A devotee should not have any other desire other than only Krishna. He cannot surrender to some mundane person. No scope. Understand? As because you're confused. No. Everybody is saying Sai Baba, if you keep in the house, it will be very nice. He doesn't have anything nonsense in this society. Understand? Is it? Where you got it? 168. No? Hello.
Yes.
Go to the verse now. Read the translation. A pure devotee must not cherish any desire other than to serve the Lord. He should not offer worship to the demigods or to mundane personalities. I think I quoted this verse a million times. Yes? He should not cultivate artificial knowledge. Again, artificial knowledge means what? Speculative, me, my, all nonsense. One must engage
Which is divided.
and which is devoid of Krishna consciousness. And he should not engage himself with anything other than Krishna conscious activity. One must engage all one's purified senses in the service of the Lord. This is the favorable execution of Krishna consciousness. And that's why devotee, they don't want to do this karma kanda stuff also. They don't. No. You follow? They are not interested in any other philosophy than the philosophy of Jesus. Now we quote 11.3.26. 11.3.26. 11.3.26. Hello, you listening? Not listening? Okay. Go down. Read the Sanskrit.
One should have firm faith that he will achieve all success in life by following those scriptures that describe the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. At the same time, one should avoid blaspheming other scriptures. One should rigidly control his mind, speech, and bodily activities, always speak the truth, and bring the mind and senses under full control.
See that? No compromise, Of course, we don't blaspheme it, but we understand what level they are at. See, and also you can go 11, 18, 30. He doesn't do all this karma kanda stuff and he doesn't speak, like a madman. Vedavada rato nasyan. Can you go? Na pashandi. Na haitukaha. Can you go down to the, read.
A devotee should never engage in the fruitive rituals mentioned in the Karmakanda section of the Vedas, nor should he become atheistic, acting or speaking in opposition to Vedic injunctions. Similarly, he should never speak like a mere logician or skeptic or take any side whatsoever in useless arguments.
This is why this nonsense, they say when we speak about all these crazy guys, they say, oh, you should not do this, Prabhu, you should. That's not devotee. You see, like Prabhupada, he is uncompromising, period. And then we call you a dog, you are a dog. Understand? If you think that he is a bit harsh and you should not, that means you are, listen, you are not devotee. You and the others class. You follow this point? Some devotees also think like, Prabhu, you should not be too harsh, you should be, What? Hello? I mean, you are in the what? Animalistic consciousness. Forget it. You follow? Devotee means uncompromising, fixed up that Krishna is the only personality to be glorified. Period. You follow? Understand? If you have all this kind of contamination in your head, forget it. You are going to take 1,000,000 years, hopefully. You follow? Understand this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Demigods are Sakam Bhaktas, but Lord always give them ye yathama prapadyante. Lord always gives them whatever the modes they are in. Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad is in his Tika is mentioning that Bali Maharaj was Kripa Siddha. He was Kripa Siddha because of Prahlad Maharaj's prayers also. So he had tinge of pride, tinge of pride that was being removed by Lord. So that was the case for Kripa Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, and Nitya Siddha. But the Indradevna Maharaj was doing meditation, tapasya. Lord mercy came unto him through Vasishta's curse, because Lord wanted to get him as the Gajendra and liberate him. Same way, Bhattasur, Chitraketu Maharaj, through Parvati Mata's curse, because Lord is there as Paramatma, curse, and then became Bhattasur, and immediately, because Lord Sankarsana wanted him to be with him, call him immediately. So Lord mercy is causeless, like it's even with devotion, yes, the Lord is free, independent to give mercy, causeless mercy to it's beyond inconceivable. We can't understand that. So this is
No,
like
but you try to understand now one thing, that this all is possible if you contact a pure devotee.
right, right.
And that's it, finish. You
Right.
don't, all these stories are to tell us, understand, that how you can make progress in different aspects, like Ajamil, different aspects. You follow? But the crux of the matter is that you have to take shelter of a, and you have to follow that instruction 100%.
Right.
You understand? Mangal Aarti means Mangal Aarti. It's not you walk in here at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, Prabhu. Hello? You understand? That is the instruction of the spiritual mind. If you don't want to follow that simple instruction, talk big philosophy, simply a waste of time. Is it clear? Is it clear? Anything else? Anything else? All right, thank you very much. I hope you understand this class, and I hope you will broadcast this class widely. That I think it makes a very big impact. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.